So far in this class, we've learned about two important hierarchies of life. On one hand, we have the Linnaean taxonomy, which organizes everything that ever has existed on Earth into different nested hierarchies. And on the other hand, kind of like an X and a Y diagram, we have how life is built, from molecular machines to molecular assembly lines, all the way up to cells, organs, organisms, and even up to the full ecosystems of life. Now, in order to understand this second hierarchy, a good activity is to think about human civilization, because human civilization is also something that is built from small things and can go way up to larger things. So why don't, in this particular mental activity and mental exercise, try to think of how human civilization is built, starting with atoms. Okay, so sketch out in your mind or on a piece of paper what happens from atoms until you start to see human artifacts, things that are unequivocally human and man-made, and then things that are bigger, bigger, and bigger, all the way up to the entire world of human stuff. So what is the point when human activity becomes evident? Is it when you have the first complicated drug molecule that might not be ever viewed in normal situations? Well, maybe not, because that could be made by an animal. Is it the first writing, some microscopic writing? What is it that you think would be you would say this is unequivocally man-made, human-made? What would be evidence of life if it was discovered on Mars? What would be evidence of intelligent life if it was discovered on another planet? So those are some of the things that you could think about as you do this little activity of what makes human civilization, and what are the hierarchical levels as you work your way up. It's also interesting, a little sort of story that you could have in your mind is which ones are higher? So in your hierarchy of human civilization, where are houses in that hierarchy, from atoms all the way up to everything that life is and does? And where are shopping malls? And which one is higher in the hierarchy from one another? How do you know? Is it because shopping malls tend to be larger than houses? Are houses part of shopping malls? If you have a house in a shopping mall, is that something we typically see? The reason to think about this is because the hierarchy of life is usually nested. So when you have the domain of eukaryota, nested inside of that are all the plants and all of the fungi and all of the animals. But that doesn't always work with the other hierarchy, the hierarchy that builds life. So it's more similar to the hierarchy that makes civilization what it is. And this is a good mental exercise. Now, biology textbooks, as I mentioned before, have the third hierarchy typically in their organizational plan. So they like to talk about the organizing principles of life, things that make life have its certain things. So evolution and ecology might be one organizational principle within biology, and the flow of energy and matter might be another organizational principle. Go ahead and flip open a textbook or look online at a table of contents and find out how those textbooks are organized. And maybe compare it to the textbooks I mentioned last time, the BioBook, which is available online. And you can see how that one is organized into discrete roots or the main principles. Now, this becomes the top face of Uno's cube and allows us to really fit all parts of biology together. Sometimes biology textbooks take a mixed approach. They start with those 6 or 7 organizing principles of biology, and then they delve into the different categories of life in the kingdom, the plants, the animals, the fungi, or they might look at how life is built up with molecules and molecular machines and cells and so on. So they might take a mixed approach, or they might just really focus on one of the faces of this cube that we've been learning about. So in general, as you think about these first few lectures that we've had, think about how you are going to understand what you learn in this course. Is it going to be from one face, the other, or the other, and how are they fitting together? And if you're going deeper by looking at the assignments in the BioBook, this would be another chance to read the leaf. What are the different levels at which scientists can explore the natural world? Because that's where you will see a nice image of Uno's cube, and you'll be able to see the exact levels that we've been talking about. Make sure you take the quizzes in the Check My Understanding tab, because those will give you a lot of insight into what you're actually learning.